Alrighty, welcome back to another video. This one is Saw 4. If you have not watched the previous episodes, please take a look and uh, see what you guys think, and leave comments down below on your favorite Saw movie, which one was your worst. I'd be happy to hear from you guys. Also, shout out to some of the channels that I have mentioned throughout these previous episodes. I have watched their rankings, and I kind of not use them as a basis to do my scorings. I actually scored the movies before I watched the episodes, or some of them I've actually watched the episodes like multiple times, like Pappa Meat's channel, where I've watched it countless times because I just enjoy the way he kind of talks about it and the way he builds up his videos. So big shout out to Pappa Meat for doing that and making it so enjoyable. It's like one of the most rewatchable things. If you guys aren't aware of how it works, I like to break this down every single time I open one of these Saw ranking videos and any movie review in the future. So this is how I work it. You got three main plot points. Some of them will change, some of them will remain the same, but all in all, we got plot alone, we got creative kills, and we got acting. Those are the three main plot points. 40 points are the max points that we could possibly give it, with 120 points for each movie, which is the max. And obviously, some movies are going to be a little less, some movies are going to be a little bit more. It all just depends on what we're looking at. So, the final scoring at the end of every video is kind of like the middle number between my mom's scoring and my scoring, and we kind of find the middle score, and that's what makes it its true score. It's not so much based on math per se that my score counts more than my mom's. It's more like, well, she thought this movie was good, I thought this movie was bad. Together, the points kind of even out right in the middle. That's its true score. Okay, you kind of have to take account for all those things. So let's jump into Saw 4. This was a movie that didn't it wasn't that bad. It just wasn't that good. Um, Definitely saw some complaints about it, and I will definitely get into it now. So let's do it. Let's jump into this. So, Saw 4, my biggest complaint with this one is the fact that they went right back to putting police officers at the entire premise of the movie, almost tied up with Spiral. This movie focuses around now lead detective Hoffman and Rig. Rig, being careless in this movie, runs into crime scenes and other life threatening locations without making sure that he is safe to do so. This movie, however, opens on John Kramer's autopsy, giving us the tape that was swallowed in Saw 3. Okay? I had big issues that supersedes most of my expectations for the cohesiveness of this movie. Mainly with Eric Matthews into this movie. Amanda was supposed to have gone on a killing spree in the previous movie. However, he gets treated like a prisoner, which in no other movie has that been done before. So it's definitely not something that makes sense to me. I felt like if she was going to do it, she should have done it. Would have been by Eric Matthews, and it would have been done with. And they definitely had potential. I'll tell you that much. They had potential to do something different. And it just didn't feel right as a movie. I then couldn't stand that the first game we see is a game that takes place where John Kramer's partner and lawyer is chained to another individual that has no correlation to the story, just to give us a death in the first moments of the film, while John's partner survives the game and then gets brought back in the very next game, at the end of Briggs's game, so to speak, right? If someone survives the game, isn't it supposed to follow up the pattern that they do in every single movie since, right? Saw 1, Saw 2, Saw 3. You see it done with Amanda. How come it wasn't done with, anyone who also has survived, and now we get this, right? Um, you know, it's kind of hard to be appreciative of that. Um, so they appreciate life, right? They finish up the game, and then should be rehabilitated to become one of Jigsaw's inner men, so to speak, like Hoffman. That would have been better than bringing him into another game that kills him off for no reason. So, did I feel like this movie was worth it? No. Also, another big gripe about the first game that took place was there was no tape. There was no, hey, do you want to play a game? Um, um, let's play a game. Before you stands, such and such a man. You guys both, been cheaters, both lied, both this, that, the other. Guys have to figure out a way to, that's the point I'm making. Is there was no tape, there was no TV with Billy the doll. It just jumped straight into the game, and it kind of hurt my feelings because it should have had a tape. Right. So let's jump into the points. So plot alone, 38 out of 40. Okay. Saw 4 does take place at the same time as Saw 3, containing elements that weren't shown in Saw 3. This had to have been the redeeming value of this movie. Setting the movie up this way shows us what Hoffman was doing during the events of Saw 3 and why he wasn't in it as much as he was setting up the games that took place in Saw 4. Now, there is a little bit of a correction there because in a later Saw movie, there would be a flashback revealing that Hoffman actually was setting up the rack, and I think it was in Saw 3, that it took us where Hoffman was setting up the rack, or maybe it was in another movie. I'm trying to remember which movie, or maybe it was this one. He was setting up the rack and kind of was tweaking with the calibration, so to speak. And John got kind of upset because of the way that Hoffman treated, I think his last name is Young. I don't remember his first name. But it was the guy who ultimately ran over Jeff's son. So if you haven't watched that episode, it's right next door, so to speak. But anyway, the games in this movie helped escalate the overall redemption, giving us a beautiful array of kills that were grounded in making each game winnable. From the spike trap with the teachers to the games with the eye picks, and the final test for Briggs, that yes, I was irritated by who was standing on the block of ice because Amanda didn't finish the job of killing Matthews, but now it's too late. I already bashed Saw 3 for those flaws and those inconsistencies. Okay? Which, of course, you have Matthews on top of a block of ice. You have Hoffman kind of dummy tied to a chair, which will later reveal that Hoffman was involved in the entire thing. The actors also help keep the movie going in a direction that is unattached to the Saw cases that led to this one. Both Perez and Peter Strahm keep the movie lively and grounded, which help negate the negatives about this movie. I still wonder if this movie would have been stronger where having Daniel Matthews return instead of Eric would have been a better choice, seeming that the movie didn't have to undo Amanda's final arc in 3. Okay? So, creative kills. It's 32 out of 40, giving us a total of 6 traps, including Perez's Billy Blast. Okay? And that's what I called it. So, if you're unsure what that is, Perez, Strom, I think they go to the school. They see a door with candlelight. Open the door. It's Billy sitting there with a little tape and candles, kind of, dancing. And Billy's sitting there all happy. Perez presses the play button, and it pretty much warns them that that the next move that they take should be cautious. And it kind of directs them to kind of leave, but they didn't hear that part. So Billy's face blasts shards of glass towards Perez's face. So it does include Perez's Billy Blast. I love that one. I think we can all see what kill was my absolute hated kill in this entire movie. Actually, there is no dull kill. Every kill was great. Because even Eric's death was the most gruesome and was also very intense. So, even though I didn't want Eric Matthews to be in here, anyone could have been on that block of ice. It could have been Daniel Matthews for all I really know or care for, or Gordon, anybody at this point. And the blocks of ice could have just boom, and it would have still had the same effect. It would have been pretty cool, I think. Acting, 34 out of 40. Okay. Peter Strom, lead police work. His deductions sound so over the top, quickly solving clues and giving the audience a big brain that no other police officer has in any Saw movies to date. Okay. We also have Perez, another critical person that is very important to the narrative of the movies looking forward. She has a mind like the rest, but still, she is well received in my opinion. We have Officer Briggs. His actions in this movie may have been predictable, but he still executes the role very strongly. He wears the pig mask and captures a man that is nasty in ways that is suitable for YouTube. That's all I'm going to say about that. Briggs is a very strong person that has been in all the movies previous before this, and all of his friends now are dead. He at least gets his game and his opportunity. Okay? Art Blank, okay, is the name of John Kramer's kind of affiliate / lawyer, so to speak. I feel like he didn't deserve to be dragged into another trap after successfully being in the trap earlier. However, in the movie, he should have been the accomplice in helping in this game, with Mark Hoffman making him a follower of Jigsaw. He, however, is assumed dead after the events of this game. Okay? We also have Jill Tuck. She kills this movie, and that's not in a good way. And I'm just saying, Jill Tuck has never really made a big impact in the Saw franchise. It's just kind of made things a little bit more like, well, she's like an scapegoat for why John lost his mind. Or not really lost his mind, but started this whole spiel of rebirth, so to speak. And then we have Mark Hoffman. Did we already know of his soon to be coming out of hiding and becomes the new Jigsaw? It's not really surprising, no. However, my mother and I see him as the following John Kramer. Not because he breaks the rules, but because when Mark uh, knows how to be slippery, he still gets his final holding place. Bringing Hoffman back into the sequel is something I am truly begging for. Um, because obviously, I think it's at the Saw 7, the final chapter, is where Hoffman kind of gets captured. But let's just, we'll talk about that in Saw 7. That movie didn't really impact me that much either. But overall, Saw 4 was amazing, with flaws that I wish was better executed. But it did bring the audience a different vibe, which was unique to the building of the story. Pappa and Dalt both placed this movie in 7th place, while Sean Chandler talks about placed this movie in 8th place. And IMDb placed Saw 4 at a ranking of 5.9, placing this movie in 5th place. Okay, so that is the overall cusp of Saw 4. That's details that are well rounded, well executed. I feel like everything about Saw 4 was pretty good. It just wasn't the best movie. Um, if you guys are having a good time watching these episodes, um, I have quite a few to get through. Obviously, we're barely on Saw 4. There's still 5, 6, 7, and then there's Jigsaw, Spiral, and Saw 10. So just stay tuned. We will definitely be covering those very, very shortly, and we'll see you in the next episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, but well, I don't know why I keep telling you guys that. You guys know what you guys are already doing. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.